Good morning everyone and welcome to the Shamrock Quilt Studio. Today I have an exciting reveal. We have a finished project that I want to share with you what it looks like and how I finished it up, and I think it's just going to be so pretty hanging on the wall. So join us right after this and I'll tell you all about it. Well, before we get started, let's talk just a little bit about what's on the wall. This is Miss Kelly, and it is a pattern designed by Aaron Russick. And you can go back and check the playlist on this, and the description of that very first video will give you all the information you need to order this pattern if you like it. I love doing this particular project. I love the colors in it, and I like the way it looked. I was encouraged by being able to accomplish it because some of the pieces in this particular project could be a little tricky. And I think that had I known a little bit better, and look at there's a stray thread on there. Had I known a little bit better, I would have started with something instead of this as my first of her projects. But I didn't know, so I did it, and I just kind of pressed through it and got it done. And I was very happy. There's another one. Oh my goodness. I was very happy with the way it turned out. And I so enjoyed the process that I wanted to do another one of her designs. But I thought that maybe for videotaping for others who could be new to applique, I needed something a little more basic. Basic, is that the word I want to use? Well, let's put it this way. Something that didn't have quite so many different pieces, not so many colors, and frankly, the birds were a little intimidating. So I picked another one of her projects to work on, and I've been working that on the channel this year. And I finally got it bound, and I'm ready to show it to you. Now, originally we were going to bind this project in this dragonfly fabric. That was my plan. And then along came Jack's chain, and apparently what I did was I took the material that I thought I was going to be able to use for binding and used it for Jack's chain. But when I thought about that a little bit more, I'm thinking there's not that many blocks of this fabric in that project, so I'm kind of thinking that it didn't have as much material as I had thought I did. So I went to Hobby Lobby, which is where this came from, and I think I made 3 trips over there over about a 4 to 6 week period, thinking they would get more in, and they didn't. And I finally got to the point where I was just ready to be done with it. It had sat around a couple of months after it was all quilted, and we resolved some issues with it, and I'm ready to look at it and enjoy it. So I went back to Hobby Lobby and I picked up this dark, kind of olivey army green that was a pretty good coordinating fabric to the dragonflies. And you can see it's a little bit darker, but because it's all solid, it doesn't compete with that dragonfly fabric, and it does give a nice little finish to it. Now, the way I bound this was I took and cut these into strips, and I think this is 2.5 inches wide. And then I folded it in half, and I used a French fold binding, which meant after I folded it in half, I put it on the edge of the work and sewed a stitch. On this one, probably about 3/8 of an inch. I wanted it to be pretty small, and I wanted it to be pretty full. I wanted a lot of batting in that. Now, If I did it again, I would have cut this at 3 inches and done all of it the same way, because I really had to work hard after I sewed that on to fold it over and then sew it on the back side. So lesson to me is, next time, make that binding just a little bit bigger when you get ready to sew it on. So are you ready to see it? I'm ready to show you. Here it is. This is Miss Karen, and she's really pretty. Now with Miss Karen, unlike Miss Kelly, there's no top or bottom. It's really any way you want to hang it. So I think that's pretty special in itself. Now I'm going to take just a little bit of break, and I'm going to hang it up here, and then we're going to talk about it. Well, there she is. That's Miss Karen. Miss Karen is a pattern created by Erin Russick, and if you check the playlist for Miss Karen, on the very first video, the introduction, I have all of the information about this pattern and where you can order it. Now, I ordered it as an electronic pattern, a PDF, and it came almost immediately, and I was able to get started on it. I really enjoyed this one. Let me tell you a little bit about why I enjoyed this. It is a pattern that is every quadrant is a duplicate of the next one. So you're just creating the same part of this pattern 4 times and then applying them, and then the medallion in the center, there's just obviously one of those. But it allows you to, I think, finish it a little more quickly, because you're only creating one set of templates and then you're able to use those again. So it's a little easier on your time because of that. And it allows you, once you get one of them done, you're confident that you can move on with the other 4. Because it also has fewer fabrics in it. You don't have all the colors. You've got a nice variety of colors, but you don't have like a situation where you just have 1 or 2 little pieces in a fabric. So I think for someone just learning applique, or someone wanting a project that is a little quicker, a little simpler to put together, this was a great applique project. It came together really quickly. Now, the most challenging part of this project from an applique standpoint is getting the little scoops or the little scallops here in these flowers to be able to get enough of that shape that you can see it, but not drive yourself crazy or have to work on something that had such a sharp indentation that you had to clip up into the fold. That was the biggest challenge, and that's where experience would really help you to be able to know what you can do and what you can't do. But because this doesn't use a whole lot of fabric other than the background and the border, for me, it didn't really use that much fabric. Very small pieces of these others. It's easy that if you do make a mistake or you have to cut something over again, it's not a huge expense. It doesn't require a huge amount of time. It really is very good for learning how to do applique and honing your skills. I chose to hand quilt this. You could certainly machine quilt it if you like. And let's talk about that really briefly. I wanted it to be a lot like Miss Karen, so that they could hang together, but not necessarily be an exact duplicate of it. What I did was I chose to do a crosshatch in the background fabric, and that is exactly like Miss Kelly. Same size, same direction of the crosshatch, everything. I did not hand quilt under the applique. Now, I think that should the opportunity present itself to go back in and do more hand quilting, what I probably would do would be to add some hand quilting as an echo around these bigger flowers. In particular, I did add that around the medallion and it helped a lot. But I can see that here it might benefit from a little bit more. I don't think that I would go to the trouble of echoing around all of the leaves and vines. That's just too much. It's just kind of takes it over the top for me. Now, as far as hand quilting beyond the crosshatch, what I did was I put a row of stitches in right here in the border, and then I put another one about halfway in. And if you've seen the videos about that, you know that I had a lot of issues with puckering. It wanted to pucker because we had all this hand quilting and then we had no hand quilting. And then we added that and it wanted to kind of ripple here. After it being done a while and being off of the frame, letting it kind of lay flat or just folded one time, I hung it over a banister for a while. It's relaxed a good bit and you can really begin to see that it is getting its own shape. It's learning to be itself almost. And then of course the final thing was to put the binding on. I'm really happy with the size of the binding and it has a nice full texture to it, fullness in there. Now, let me tell you a couple of the little problems I ran into with binding. First of all, when I took it out, I trimmed it, and I wanted it to be as close to the size of this frame as it could be and still be square, because this frame is just a little bit on the rectangle side. So I chose about 30 to 31 inches as my game plan going into the trimming. And what I figured out really quickly was that the untrimmed project was pretty close to square. So I started trimming from this seam line out and then trying to get the corners square to make sure that those corners were square and then even it up. And after I did that, I figured out that one half of it, and I don't remember which half, but two of the corners, one half of it, was an inch longer than the other half. And I couldn't figure that out for the life of me. It must be that this is a little bit off. So what I did was I came in a ½ inch on each side and then tapered to the center. And we are right at 30 inches from edge to edge all the way around. Little bit of difference in a few little areas, but it is super close to being 30 inches square on the dot. I think it turned out great. I'm very happy with it. It's striking, isn't it? It's probably not as happy feeling as Miss Kelly, but it's very sophisticated. So I'm very happy with the colors and my fabrics. They're very close to what she had used in her original project, and I love it. It's really great. So if you're looking for an applique project, you want something kind of large, you don't want something small and fiddly, and it's something that you can kind of work through pretty quickly, I would definitely recommend this pattern. And her patterns are reasonably priced. If you're just looking for something like this, it's $10, $12, something like that. So we're just going to let it hang up there for a while and enjoy it while we work on some of our other projects. It's really good to get a project finished. The sense of accomplishment and relief that you feel when you're able to hang it up on the wall. You don't have to worry about the next thing that needs to be done to it. And it's also one little check mark where you can move it to work in progress over to completed. It's a great feeling. So I always say that the 2 best days in the studio, the first best day is the day you start a new project, and the second best day is the day you finish it and you can start enjoying it. So we're going to enjoy Miss Karen hanging on the wall for a while we work on some other things. I hope you've enjoyed all of the videos on this particular project. If you missed any, or if you're just seeing Miss Karen and you want to try it for yourself, check out the playlist for Miss Karen and you will see all of the videos that we've done on this project. If you liked what you saw here today and you enjoyed the content, give us a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next week here at the Shamrock Quilt Studio. Have fun and go sew something awesome.